Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Tonight we're back here with Josh Scorcher. Tonight's video is the top 10 bosses you don't want to defeat. Yeah, normally our instincts are like, we see a boss, we beat it. But these? Well, I guess they make you so attached to them, you just don't want to beat them. Like, say Undertale. Like, you can defeat them, but do you really want to? Especially with what you know about the ending. Think about it. You get to know these people. They're, like, really friendly, but they really haven't bothered you. I mean, sure, you might see that in the boss run, but let's be real. If you do beat Toriko, you're a monster. Anyway, sorry, off topic, but see the bosses you just can't help but not want to defeat. Be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Let's go. Shall we? Here we go. Alright, well.
It's basic video game science. To progress further in the game, you have to get past that boss, sometimes in the most painful ways possible. However, sometimes it's not always that straightforward. There are occasionally the brawls that you want to lose, either because you're already tuckered out or because you genuinely like or feel bad for the boss and don't want to hurt them. And the outcome of the fight isn't always what you'd expect, unfortunately.
There was no other way.
So for
Pretty
today,
much.
we're paying tribute to the boss fights we don't want to win, but have no choice. Keep in mind, we may have to deduct a few brownie points for mercy kills, impersonal connections, and, if applicable, a subpar story, since those kinda detract from the dramatic tension. Regardless, the impact is still the same. You have to beat down these big brutes whether you like it or not. And trust me, you won't.
Number 10?
The Metal Gear series has always wanted to make your head spin with deep storytelling, emotional characters, and whatever crazy thing Hideo Kojima randomly thought of during his Wednesday bathroom break.
Oh no! I'm falling, and I can't get up!
Kojima? How has a psychologist not gotten famous from studying you?
Anyways, let's get back to
Kinda
the
cool.
emotional stuff. In Metal Gear Solid 3, you play as
Oh,
Naked
big
Snake,
boss?
who's on a mission to defeat a group of Soviet traitors and kill a US traitor. Unfortunately, the US traitor is a war hero known as the Boss. Also,
AKA
she's your
Snake's
mentor
boss.
and mother figure. And she isn't actually a traitor. She's taking
No.
the fall as a scapegoat to make sure that America doesn't get blamed for a nuclear mishap that occurred accidentally due to one of their covert ops going badly. And she was secretly helping you this entire time. Great. After you beat the Shadowlord and confront the boss in a field of symbolic
Or
white
boss.
flowers, she reveals all of the above truths to you. Despite this, she still knows that if she doesn't die, America could still be blamed for the nuclear mishap. So she forces Snake's hand by radioing an airstrike nearby to kill them both if one doesn't die in the next 10 minutes. The fight itself is amazing with the emotion, set
10
pieces,
minutes.
and gameplay aspects you'd expect from a Kojima game. By the end of the fight, the boss praises your growth and gives you her gun as not only a sign of respect, but also
the transfer
passing the
of
torch
tile.
to you. Finally, Snake and you shoot her with her gun, ending her life. The reason the boss is so low is this is an early case of a mercy kill. Snake was here on a mission to kill her in the first place. While he did so reluctantly in the end, everything was building up to kill her. While the fight itself is emotional, we still had to do it. If we didn't,
our
the
job.
Russian bombers would have done it anyway, or we would have died, or America gets blamed for a nuclear explosion causing an escalation of the Cold War. It was a mission that we needed to carry out, and only Snake could do it.
She definitely was a true
It's
patriot.
okay. The rest of this video won't nearly be as emotional or painful.
Alright. Josh needs a hug.
Okay, I'm lying.
Number 9?
In the original Ruby
here's
Sapphire
Wally.
and Emerald, you had two rivals. Everyone remembers May and Brendan, your next-door neighbor and primary rival. Even if they never fully evolve their starter and make completing the Pokédex so much harder, they also don't really appear for a battle after Lilycove, but they do kind of tag along behind you. Why are they your primary rival again? Anyway, besides May/Brendan, you have a runty, sickly little kid who serves as the catch tutorial named Wally, who catches Routes. He only shows up 2 or 3 more times over the course of the game as a pretty easy fight. Then he kind of runs off with his tail tucked between his legs. You kind of feel bad for kicking the poor kid when he's down, especially after the confidence boost catching his Routes gave him. But he did challenge you in the first place. Then suddenly, he shows up in Victory Road with a competent team and a nice little speech about his Pokemon giving him strength and courage. And then you beat him because you're the protagonist. Then along comes the remake, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. This Victory Road battle is very different because, strangely enough, the script has been flipped. There's a unique field of battle, an honestly amazing boss theme, and you come to the startling truth. He's not your rival, you're his rival. He's the shonen protagonist, not you. Wally's absolute faith in his team and his unwavering confidence that he will beat you is a far cry from the timid, shaky boy from both earlier in the game and the original Gen 3 games. Wally is suddenly the confident, charismatic Pokemon trainer we only wish the main character could be. If Pokemon were a VR game, you get to choose what you said to Wally. My return speech would go something like this. All right, kid, you've done it. You lost and lost to me, yet you took those losses as motivation to become stronger. Gone is the scared, shy, sickly little boy who shivered at the thought of catching a Routes. Now stands before me a confident, strong, kind man who has defeated gym after gym with the friends he has made, and now faces me with a Mega Gallade. I'll confess, a part of me wants to lose to you right now, but no, that would be pity. And you don't deserve that type of disrespect. So,
let's go all out, kid.
I will do my very best to crush
Bring it on, Wally.
And your Pokemon, Wally. Why? Because
you've earned it.
Earned my respect.
Oh, what a drama queen.
The reason why he isn't higher on the list, Wally's a Pokemon trainer. With every battle, you have to accept the possibility of defeat or you're not getting very far. Wally understands this perfectly. Losing is just part of the territory. No one can win 100% of the time. Also, no one dies. So, yeah, number 9 for my boy
fair.
Wally. Also, it's nice to have a character with a chronic illness portrayed as a strong, confident, badass force to be reckoned with. We're never told what his illness actually is. Asthma, cardiovascular disease, cystic fibrosis, but it doesn't hold him back. Nothing can hold him back, least of all the protagonist. He's just that awesome.
Amen. Go on, Wally. Let's be real. We all want to travel with Wally. All right?
This is Toriko. Just a little bunny dog girl who couldn't hurt a fly. She saw the good in Sue when others didn't want to. She's just a bundle of sweetness.
Oh, boy.
Oh, look at her cute little face. This is a bad sign, isn't it?
Yep.
Don't get too attached. It only makes what happens later on way
more
painful. But you can't help it. She's just a wee little baba who absolutely needs her cheekies pinched. And then it all goes to hell. To set the scene, the diabolical doctor hopes to use an army of rabid Mimiga to conquer the surface world below the island. He tries to further his goal using some freaky demon flowers that makes anyone who eats them bigger, stronger, and a lot more unhinged. He needs a test subject to test the flowers' effects on Mimigas and... Wait a second. No, you wouldn't! No, game, you can't do this! You can't!
Yep.
Oh, come on!
Yep. He really went there. To further his insane, power-hungry goals, he abducts a child, force feeds her a possibly toxic, dangerous flower, and thus turns her into an oversized, rabid version of mass destruction. And once you enter the scene, the new frenzied Toriko doesn't waste any time going on the attack and trying to demolish you with blocks. You don't want to fight her. She did literally nothing wrong. It's just some pawn and some sicko's master plan. But it's out of your robot hands. To get to the doctor, you're gonna have to take your sword and end Toriko's suffering. permanently. What makes this so tragic is how there's literally no way around it. No cure, no way to talk Toriko out of her frenzied state. The only way you're getting out of this is to give her the old Yeller treatment with your sword. Yeah, the fact that it's a mercy kill kinda underplays the tragedy, but not by much. It's still depressingly dark that an innocent child has to suffer by our hands after getting dragged into some mad doctor's take over the world scheme.
I mean, you got a point. Like, jeez, you gotta feel bad for Toriko. I mean, she did nothing wrong, and, well, we had to put her down because of the mad doctor's schemes. Yeah, damn, these things are really hitting hard. Not sure if I'm crying or not. I can't tell. But yeah, Wally definitely was someone I would want to travel with, you know? Just to see the growth. Alright, next. Number 7.
The whole premise behind Shadow of the Colossus is to scour the land and slay these titanic brutes in the hopes of reviving some maiden. I previously mentioned that the Colossi offer some of the best boss fights in any game, and I'm standing by it because each brawl offers something new and really pushes you to the limit. And yet, halfway through the game after slaying so many Goliaths already, you can't help but start to wonder, hey, wait a second.
What have they done?
Why do I have to kill these guys? They're not doing
what'd they do?
anything. What'd they do to me personally?
He's just standing there, menacingly.
When you really stop and think about it, you're kinda trespassing where you shouldn't be and giving these monsters a load of trouble on their turf. Okay, yes,
Pretty much.
a few of them are aggressive, so it's only natural you've got to defend yourself. But a few of them don't even do anything until you aggravate them. You feel bad for having to kill most of them, but the ones I feel the worst for? 3 come to mind. There's the 4th Colossi, Phaedra, which is really just a peaceful, curious little deer that likes to play hide and seek. Boy, are you gonna feel bad when you find it. Then there's the 5th beastie, Avion. Oh, what a beautiful, majestic flying creature. Well, time to kill it. And then there's the 13th big fella, Phalanx. It's literally just minding its own business, flying around, having fun, not even looking for trouble. So you gotta be the one to ruin its day and kill it out of the blue.
You feel like an yet?
I think I would have.
Just wait, it gets better.
It turns out that killing all of the Colossi actually unleashes the spirit of Dorman, the game's underlying demonic antagonist, and allows its spirit to possess your body. So, to sum up, you were being used as a literal puppet and went on a genocide run against a species of oversized wild animals for absolutely nothing!
How did you ever get so stupid? I got a charge account. What's your excuse?
Really, the last fact alone kind of kills the whole experience since these giants are so impersonal, and the slow burn fighting each and every one of them really takes a toll when you realize it's all for nothing. Don't get me wrong, the fights are still a thrill and a half, but in the grand scheme of things, all you're really doing is poaching with the false hope of reviving your girlfriend, sister, best friend, whatever. The fact that they don't clarify your relationship to Mona makes this even more frustrating!
Again, low blow. Number 6.
Who doesn't love puppies, am I right? Well, I got the perfect giant wolf doggo for you. He even knows some cool tricks.
Great.
Like fighting with a sword, and spinning around with a sword, and killing you with a sword. Yeah, Sif is big on sword tricks, but the dog shows eat those up. Now, no one wants to kill a poor, innocent doggo, but that isn't enough to land a boss on this list.
Yeah, there's more.
Plenty of other bosses that would have PETA knocking down your door. So what sets this lovable purebred apart from the rest? The answer can be broken down into 2 parts. The first part is you're striking down a dog, or in this case wolf, who's just guarding his master's grave. A noble, touching sentiment not unlike Hachiko, the dog who waited for 9 years for his master to come home after his master's death. That's the story of Sif in the main game, and while heartbreaking, it still isn't really enough to land him on this list. Now, what gets Sif his spot is what happens in the Astoria of the Abyss DLC. As it turns out, you're the one who struck down Sif's master Astoria, who went insane from spending too much time in and around the Abyss. With killing Astoria, you're tasked with completing his mission of cleansing Ulasil of the Cursed Abyss. So you wander down into the Abyss and discover something truly tear-jerking. Astoria's last act of sanity was to give his shield to his puppy Sif, protecting the not yet great gray wolf from the horrors of the abyss. You find Sif cowering from humanity sprites and save him. The battle with Sif starts one of two ways. If you fight Sif before the DLC, Sif is all snarls and growls, steadfastly guarding his master's grave. If you do the DLC before Sif, then Sif pounces on you, takes a good whiff of you, and clearly recognizes you. But his loyalty to his master overrules his gratitude to you. So it is that two old friends must do combat if you are to take your place as the chosen undead. You could cut the irony
Sif.
with a dull pencil.
Look at him. He's a good boy. He's a good at some boys. One of the best. Number 5.
Wait a minute.
Hmm?
My calculations are correct. Then by the end of this Kingdom Hearts segment, I'll have enough money in my jar so I can buy some sea salt ice cream!
It's a pretty common trope
So-
to have a character you feel sorry for because the world kept kicking them like
Xion.
a sad puppy. Wally did this a bit and he became a badass for it, but the only thing worse than fighting the grown-up puppy is playing as them and not being able to help them. In Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2, Roxas spends the entire game trying to make sense of himself as he does his missions. He becomes friends with Axel and Xion and really just wants to spend time with them on the clock tower like they do every day. Unfortunately, due to Xemnas and Syx being evil and Axel hiding every secret in the book, the group dynamic starts to unravel. As Xion learns who she is, a puppet created to steal Roxas's abilities, she spirals. Realizing she's unable to be her own person, she chooses to return to Sora, but doing so will erase everyone's memory of her, including her friends. However, she can't undo the organization's programming. She asks Axel to beat her, but he only barely manages to knock her out. Finally, Xion goes to Roxas. Roxas, who feels he's been betrayed by Axel and is on the run from the organization, sees Xion as his only trusted friend. However, Xion has been programmed to fight Roxas. Revealing her face as Sora, Roxas defends himself against his friend, confused and grief-stricken. The battle with Xion itself is technically the best fight in the game, as you fight 4 versions of her, each form changing locations and using different movesets of Sora's as you fight her. Finally, with the final form, she becomes a giant knight over the plaza that she, Roxas, and Axel spent their time together, using a unique dual sword moveset that Roxas copies in later games. What makes the battle one you want to lose is because you want both Roxas and Xion to catch a break. Roxas was betrayed by his best friend and organization, on the run with feelings of confusion and lack of identity, and the only person who can sympathize with him attacks him all of a sudden, forcing you, the player, to strike her down, knowing you need to save her, but also knowing Roxas has no idea what to do but fight. Xion's in the same boat too. She doesn't want to fight. She wants to just be alongside people who make life worth living. But some evil prick has to have his way, and she's basically mind controlled to fight her friend. While the circumstances are heartbreaking, what puts this lower, besides the mercy kill and KH's subpar storytelling, is that Xion really isn't that interesting of a character. The friendship between her and Roxas is believable enough, but other than that, she's an amnesiac Kairi clone. Literally. Also, her transforming into Sora's a little weird, and her death scene has that abysmal dialogue in it.
No. Xion. Who else will I have ice cream with?
Suddenly I don't want ice cream.
I'm good, yeah. Yeah, I want to fix that one. Oopsie. Number 4?
Well, we're talking about Fire Emblem. Please leave your ships at the door, and don't forget to take your children on the way out.
Fire Emblem Fates is an interesting entry in the series. Coming off the popularity of Awakening, Fates was an ambitious project that was
Birthright and
supposed
Conquest,
to stretch
right?
the limits of choices and consequences when it came to Fire Emblem storytelling. Long story short, it failed for the most part, but at least the characters were still good. And as usual with Fire Emblem, the support conversations really flesh out each character's personality and make you care for what happens to them, especially your siblings. If you chose either Birthright or Conquest, the tail end of those games would lead you to a fight in a one-on-one duel with your eldest brother of each kingdom.
Ryoma or
Choosing
Xander?
Conquest, you will go head-to-head with your biological family and end up fighting your oldest brother, Ryoma. Despite him wanting to kill you after you accidentally killed his mother and then still choosing your adopted family, he waits patiently as a samurai as you prepare for battle. He's a really difficult battle too. As you finally beat him, you want to spare him, but can't as your of a father, kidnapper, will kill you if you don't kill him. So, Ryoma commits seppuku, thrusting his lightning katana into himself to save you from both death and the guilt of making the killing blow. If he chose birthright, it's debatably worse. Going up against your adopted siblings and your big brother Xander, you fight your other siblings of the heart as you invade, hoping to convince them of the evil that their father has done to their kingdom. On the way, you were able to convince your sweet little sis Elise to join you, but by the time you get to Xander, he still wants to fight you as an invader to his home and a traitor to him and his kin. When Xander swings to attack, Elise jumps in the way.
Yeah, she takes the blow.
Despite her death, Xander still forces you to fight, knowing he will be killed unless he defeats you. After the battle, Xander succumbs to his wounds as you kill the supportive and kind brother that trained you and loved you.
Well, that sucks.
The reason Ryoma and Xander are both here is that no matter what you choose, you end up either sending your blood brother or the brother of your heart to their deaths. And they're both good men. They're fighting for what they believe in, trying to protect their country and family. And their anger is understandable as they both feel betrayed by your decisions. Well, what stops them from being higher is that they could have been so much more devastating. I blame Fate's subpar storytelling for that. The main reason that these confrontations even happen is because Korin is an idiot. He probably could have avoided at least Ryoma's death by killing Garen earlier on, or at least staging an internal coup. And yes, there is a way around these fights. You could choose Revelation, where they could both join you. But then you'd have to slog through Revelation's even worse storytelling.
Then again, I don't really watch, Fire Emblem stories, so fair enough. But, oof, man. Not the brother, the one that cared for you, or your blood brother. Ouch. I gotta feel bad for these people sometimes. They don't want to fight, but they're just forced to. Tragedies of war, my friend. The tragedies of war. The fact that Ryoma still cares about you, even if you choose Norium, go against him, and he still cares about you deep down. So much so, does that instead of letting you make the kill. Damn. Anyway, moving along. 3? Last 3. I lost my coin.
Before the surprise success of Nier Automata, there was the cult classic that came before it. The original Nier was praised for its masterful storytelling and emotional heights. When it comes to bosses you don't want to win, Nier has an interesting relationship to this. Once you get to New Game Plus, you find out that the Shades, the main enemies of the game, are former humans.
Yep.
That makes many of the game's bosses way worse once you learn the full context of everything. And this is no more evident than with the final boss, the Shadowlord. Shortly before this fight, it's revealed that he's actually the original version of Nier, the character, the very same one you played as in the prologue. The whole time, he was trying to save his own version of Yona, Nier's daughter. Then after the first phase of the battle, the original version of Yona kills herself.
Ouch.
This causes the Shadowlord to essentially abandon all hope, because he's now lost everything. His new goal goes from saving Yona at all costs to dying, so he can finally be with her. The once bombastic final battle music becomes stripped down to a music box. And then, to top it all off, Nier, knowing full well the consequences of what this will do, kills the Shadowlord. This dooms the Shades and Gestalts to go berserk and die off, and the Replicants to die from the Black Scrawl with no Gestalts left to fuse with, effectively making humanity go extinct.
Yeah, sometimes the truth can be a real bitch.
Pretty much. Or Nier. Anyway, number 2?
Once again, a friendly
Undertale.
How much I love the Undertale bosses. Each one
So,
of them is a
Toriko,
man in their
Papyrus,
own way.
where are we
When you
going?
really get to know them as their own person, you really don't want to bring harm to any of them. Though not all of them return the sentiment. Fortunately, you've got the choice of whether you want to actually physically harm any of them or not. Like I said last time, this isn't to try and sway anyone into taking either the pacifist or genocide routes, but just a word of caution of what you can expect. Before I really delve deep into the genocide run, I want to briefly touch upon one fight that kinda hurts no matter which path you chose. Toriel. Unfortunately, if you want to be able to continue your quest, you're gonna have to leave her and the ruins. But why though? Why would you want to leave this actual mama goat? She saved you from Flowey the first time she took you in and just wanted to take care of you. And butterscotch cinnamon pie! But I guess the plot must move forward.
But pie!
What makes this one particularly sad is that no matter what route you take, it's gonna hurt. If you go pacifist, it leads to a really heartbreaking goodbye, like an actual mother and son parting ways. And if you go genocide, you just killed Goat Mom! And Megafish! And Robo-Host! You jerk! Speaking of the genocide run, I genuinely feel bad for every boss you have to slice up in this route. These three in particular. Asgore is a broken man who's unable to process his grief after his only children were taken from him. Papyrus is an innocent sunshine baby and a total bro, and anyone who wants him is gonna have to deal with me!
Yeah, I'm with them.
And Undyne? She's just an aggressive, awkward tsundere once you get to know her. And she also ends up pulling a Wally, where she's not the boss of your game, you're the boss in hers. And what does that make you?
I'm the villain in my own story.
And of course, there's the obvious reason why you should be wary of going guns blazing with every boss. Sans, the final boss of the genocide run. You murder all the monsters, and this bony dwarf will see that you feel their pain 1,000-fold in the game's toughest boss fight. And he's not wrong to do so. The absolutely tragic part about this is that the consequences never go away no matter how many times you try to reset. The game will remember all the blood you spilled and the lives you took, and it will haunt you for the rest of your experience.
Well, luckily, you can always just start a new game with a clear conscience.
Yeah, no, it will remember.
Right?
Everyone died. The end.
Yeah.
I killed the great Papyrus! I'm a filthy murderer! These hands are like
Honey, it's okay. Sunshine Pappy's okay, I promise. Would some mac and cheese make you feel better? With little hot dogs in it?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Ari.
Honorable mentions. Chidori, Persona 3. Would have made it, except you can revive her later, so kinda cushions the blow too much. Takuto Maruki, Persona 5 Royal. Even therapists need therapists sometimes. Steve Burnside, Resident Evil Code Veronica. Recurring franchise character given a mercy kill. Emil, Nier Automata. While he's a tough customer and the options you're given for him are tragic, unfortunately he's an optional boss only after completing the game once. Not much at stake, really. Walter, Fable 3. Your mentor, your guide, and your friend is possessed by the crawler, and you have to kill him to kill the crawler. And he begs you to do it. Ari still cries every time.
Balls indeed, my good sir. Balls indeed.
And number one.
Mother 3 has often been regarded as one of the saddest games of all time, and for good reason. From start to finish, the game is a never-ending series of gut punches that get progressively more depressing. It all culminates in the final boss fight of the game, the Masked Man. For context, it's been hinted at throughout the game that he's actually Klaus, the twin brother of Lucas. Right before the battle, this is confirmed by Flint. This sets the emotional tension incredibly high for the fight. Right off the bat, Klaus's first move is to kill every one of your party members except for Lucas. Don't even try to revive them, he'll just take them out again. For the first phase of the fight, all you can do is just defend and heal as Klaus continues to mindlessly tear into you. And just when things seem hopeless, the ghost of Hinawa comes in and attempts to talk some sense into Klaus. At first, she isn't able to get through to him, but as the fight goes on, flashbacks occur back to his childhood and he begins to remember. Eventually, it works as Klaus comes to his senses and takes his helmet off. But then, he does the unthinkable. He uses his lightning attack, reflecting it off of Lucas's badge, and killing himself in the process. It's been argued by many that this was Klaus's last moment of clarity, and realizing all the evil that he's caused, commit suicide. What truly makes this entry number 1 is that Klaus himself did the deed, not the player. Like Lucas, they did everything in their power to resolve the battle peacefully, but in the end, it didn't even matter.
I'm the fiery Joker, and whew, summer, I'm parched.
Water bosses!
Cut!
Yeah, he always leads close to the next countdown, which is the water boss. That's gonna have to wait. Till then, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. Till next time, adios.